Welcome back to the podcast today, guys. First episode. Very excited. Have a special guest today, Mr. H Reviews. Just like
Hello,
to
hello.
quick plug. He's making his own film named Blackfields. Congrats on the film, by the way. I think he hit £24,000 now donated.
Oh, actually, I think last night I hit 25,
Oh,
believe it or not.
congrats even more.
So yeah, I know. I was quite blown away by that.
Yeah, I
So
think the first target
that's been pretty good.
initially was around £10,000, and the fandom smashed that.
Well, so actually, the first target was 25, and then I lowered
Oh,
it because I
okay,
didn't think
lowered it
I'd.
down.
I didn't think I'd hit it, and then we've hit it anyway. So it's been
Smashed
quite
it.
surprising.
And it's still growing,
Yeah.
so there'll be a link down in
Mm.
the description for sure to donate to that film. And also his Teespring merch. He's got amazing posters, which I've ordered one. It's on the way. So
Oh, you still haven't. Yeah, that's a shame that you haven't got it because it'd be good to see it anyway, so you can actually see
yeah, it'll take
like
time.
how
Maybe in
good it
future
actually is.
future episode, hopefully we'll have it on. Today on the first episode, I'd like to discuss the Predator franchise and the direction that is going in. We've had
Mm.
news last week that just came out about the comics moving on to Marvel, which is
Oh,
I saw your
fun,
take on it, bit iffy. And
fun, fun, fun.
I had your video on my watch later for about 3 months on Predator versus Batman, and I just recently watched it
Oh
about an
yeah.
hour ago, and I loved it. Like, there's some interesting takes, and it was really
Mm.
amazing.
Yeah, it's in. Yeah, so well, so obviously we had the real bad news, and I still firmly believe it's bad news. Um, that obviously Alien and Predator are going off to Marvel, which I think is terrible news anyway. And I think a lot of people. I think what's surprising about it is everyone seems to really like they're doing their utmost to almost discredit Dark Horse and the work that they've done over the past 30 odd years. And it's so strange because they've categorically kept the franchise alive, especially
Yeah,
for Predator. Like a lot of people, a lot of people hear Dark Horse and they don't they may have heard of the name, but they don't know specifically the company anyway.
yeah,
But Dark Horse, Concrete Jungle, which was one of their comics, their graphic novels, that was the adaptation, the basis for Predator 2. So without that, you wouldn't have had Predator 2. Like, you wouldn't have had the movie. And it's amazing how some people, Grace Randolph,
I was
trying
about
to
to say
I
that.
are trying to discredit Dark Horse. It's amazing. It's absolutely baffling.
When you
Crazy
said
stuff.
when you said discredit, I was like, one name popped up to my head, and from the video this morning I
Yeah.
watched, Grace Randolph, and she's like, they've done nothing over the last 30 years. Well, hello,
Yeah.
you linked it as well to the first AVP film where the
Yeah,
basis
exactly.
the first treatment was based off the comics.
Well, they made AVP anyway. Like it was
Yeah, the
theirs,
first
right? Obviously,
concept.
like the inception of it was in. They like it's a concept, isn't it? But they fleshed out the world. They created stories
Yeah,
that were never there. They made it into a franchise that it is. Whether you think it's good or bad, obviously depends on where you lie. But it's not the point. Like to say that they've done nothing is just it's
yeah.
complete lunacy,
I think it was
like
a bit
absolute lunacy.
naive on her part, like not researching enough, not knowing.
Naive. Naive is an understatement. Like again.
Big one, big one. No,
Oh
no,
my God, like, how
I,
stupid can you be?
like
Christ.
I like Grace. I follow her. I follow her on Twitter, but
Mm,
sometimes I would love to have her on this actually, but sometimes
mm.
she does get to my nerves on Twitter where she's like, there's a lot of posts where it's like, I told you so from weeks ago. I'm like, all right, we get
Yeah.
it.
So like I get that. Obviously, this isn't about the industry and things like that. But I get that. Like I get the need when people try to discredit you all the time. I get the need to validate yourself. Like I get it. But like a lot of your, if that's a lot of your output, then you got a serious problem because you're very defensive at that point.
Yeah,
You know. But like I always like if I've done stories and stuff like that, like for Terminator Dark Fate, for instance, like I covered a lot of that. Like I had sources on the set and I had like photos and videos and
and
things, and I
he's
just said, look, I said the proof will be when it comes
yeah,
out,
and
and
you
it
still had
came out,
people
and I was like,
denying
well,
you
there you
up
go.
until release.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then I
yeah,
remember I got invited to a screening for that, and I went to it, and I'm just like, they haven't changed a single thing of what Mr. H said. I'm
yeah,
like, this is exact bit by bit. The first
yeah,
scene was the
exactly.
scene you described, and then yeah,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
went all. That's for another day, but Terminator franchise that one.
yeah. I think it hurt a lot of
That
people,
hurt a lot.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
even my dad, who grew up with Terminator, I remember he told me a story. He snuck out of school to go watch Judgment Day,
Oh,
and
nice, nice.
and he even saw it. He's like, "What the f is this crap?" Like,
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Like it's just
yeah,
yeah, yeah. Well, there's shades of Judgment Day in there. That's the thing is that
yeah,
they just copied, and again, it's not about. We'll talk about Predator. Let's get on to
yeah.
Predator.
Back to Predator. With the comics, I think, I'm not gonna lie. I have not read many of the comics. The only
Mm,
time I've read them is when you cover them, and
mm.
like that's the only. But I'm a massive Predator fan, and I've heard people say like the games was based some of them off the comics as well.
Yeah. Well, so there's not been a lot of games, in
Yeah.
fairness, which is a shame because again, you look at the franchise as a whole and you think, well, it'd be ripe for mining, but it seems to be like no one can get it quite right. So you got your core games, the ones which is probably the most popular. Like you had AVP, which is I think it was made by Monolith, and I think Rebellion was in there as well. I'm fairly certain. I know Rebellion did AVP. No, did they do AVP two? No, I can't remember who. Basically, so AVP, really really cool game, absolutely fantastic. And then AVP two, which was like legendary
Is
amongst so many gamers. It's just and in fact, there's like people that are still putting servers up now for
Yeah,
like
I heard
online
about that.
play,
I think
and it's just insane. It's so good.
I had that game on the PS2. Was that the one with the cover? It was like the greenish cover and it had the Colonel Marines as
No,
well in it? Or was that a
no.
different one?
That's AV. That's technically AVP three, which is it was
Oh,
Alien versus
okay.
Predator 2010.
Yes, that's the
So
one I
there
had.
were two
Yeah.
games that came out years before that,
Hmm.
and AVP two, like I mean it's like I don't know whether newer people would like it so much because the graphics are not like the graphics are poor,
No, of course. Like,
but I loved them. I thought it's fantastic. I played that game so much
yeah.
that like occupied all of my summer once. Just played the shit out of that. So there was those games and they did really really well. And then there's been Predator Concrete Jungle, which was a very interesting, like quite an interesting take on the Predator franchise.
You replayed
But
that.
then
I watched
there's
a couple episodes.
no, no,
Was
no,
that
no.
Concrete Jungle?
No, I played 2010. So I played
Oh, okay,
AVP
okay.
2010, and I think I did play AVP 2. I'm fairly certain I did, or maybe I did that for Patreons. I can't remember. Um, but there's not been a lot of again for a franchise that is so very much ripe for games. You'd think that there would be more, but I guess it's the same with Alien, right? Like there's not been a lot of
Yeah.
Alien games. There's been a lot of like a Sega games and stuff like that.
I didn't play Isolation,
Um,
but
Oh, you need to. You really
yeah, I
should.
heard it
Like,
was really good.
yeah, like you could even just like play it on your channel. Like, it's really really good. Very very interesting. Take on it all from like a different perspective, um, and ties very nicely to everything as well. So it was very well made.
When I heard last year there was a new Predator game coming out from Ilphonic on the
Mm.
PS4, I was so excited. And I have it on the PlayStation now, and I play it here and
Yeah,
there. But in my opinion, the gimmick wears off a bit because there's no
it
like,
was all online, isn't
yeah,
it?
it's all online. It's like 4v1 against the
Yeah,
Predator, and sometimes it
yeah.
takes. Once I think it was about 23 minutes to find one game, and that's just on searching.
Not good, is it?
That's on
Yeah,
searching. That's on searching for quick match normal because they allow you to pick
yeah,
a they allow you to pick a preference whether you want
yeah,
Predator,
yeah.
Fire Team, or any, and that was on any as well. And it's if you click Predator, the
That's
wait
bad.
time's even longer because everyone wants to play as the Predator. So
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah. That sucks,
yeah,
man.
I
And
played.
I'd imagine that's because there's not many players, so obviously there's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
many people like populating it with games. But
They
that
have had
sucks.
a quite few good updates where they introduced the Samurai Predator, and I
Mm.
bought that because it looks cool. And they introduced Arnold obviously, and they got him back to voice the game. So
Yeah,
that was interesting. That was really fun.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I just so like I mean I'm a big Predator fan, but like I kind of draw the line at
Yeah.
like online games. It's just for me, I'm not overly
No,
interested in
it's
online games.
it's
It just doesn't
really
do it for me.
hard to go back and play. Like I play it here and there, but
Mm.
after one or two games, I'm like done with it because like it takes a long time to find a match, and then if you're playing as the fire team, you're doing the constant same objectives, and then
Yeah.
sometimes you get a person who plays as the predator who doesn't even find your team the whole game, and you just go and do the
Uh,
like. It depends. Like uh, if you have to navigate your way through the map, and if you fail, you go
mm.
the wrong way, you just can't get to the fire
Yeah.
team, and then they just get to the chopper, and then it's done. That's it.
Go to the chopper. You did your best Arnie impression. There.
No, that's not the best one. No. No, it's funny how they got Arnold back for the game, but they couldn't get him back for the movie in 2018.
So not really. When you when you figure out like he was just going to be a glorified cameo.
Yeah, it was just at the end where he's like,
it was literally just going to come at the end, pop out of a chopper and go, "Come with me." You know,
because they had a trilogy planned, wasn't it? Or like
ridiculous.
They had 2 movies. Like they said in interviews.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they did have plans, but I had the script for that film before they went back for the extensive reshoots.
Yeah, I saw your coverage of it.
Garbage.
You want to talk about 2018?
So, yeah, well, no, so we can talk about it. So, I've always I enjoyed that film, right?
Yeah, your first review came out.
I enjoy McDonald's, right? Like I like McDonald's, but I know it's absolute dog shit, right? Like obviously, like we all know these things. We all know stuff is bad for us. And like it's an entertaining film. It doesn't mean it's good by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, of course.
It's funny in parts and things like this, and but I don't mind Shane Black's humor, so that's why.
Yeah.
But it's a bad film. Like it's not a good film in terms of it being a Predator film. In terms of it actually just being like a good structured film. Like there's
all over the place.
It's so disjointed. It's an absolute mess. You can tell that there was extensive reshoots because they kept doing this looming music.
Oh yeah, especially on the
looming music of this
on the
pod. And
pod.
you're like, oh wow, well, what is this? And if you've got the script, you know what they are because there's multiple pods. It was a whole menagerie of creatures that was supposed to be populating in these pods, and then it just turns out, nah, mate, it's just an Iron Man Predator. So you're like, fuck.
Because I remember coming out of Alien Covenant I can't remember when that came out, but I remember seeing it with my dad and little brother. And I'm like, Dad, when's there going to be a Predator movie? And I searched up and it was like in the works. And this was back in 2014. And ever since then, I've been following coverage for that movie. And 2018 came and it was probably like my second, third most anticipated movie that year after Infinity War. And when it came out...
Did it come out last year?
No, 2018. 2018, I think.
Was it 2018? Yeah. Oh my God!
Yeah.
Where's the years going by?
Oh,
it was last year. No, really?
Yeah,
I have to Google that.
I'm pretty sure it's 2018.
I'm gonna have to Google that. It was 2018. Jesus Christ!
But
no,
I remember seeing when the first trailer came out. I went to my dad, like, Dad, new Predator trailer. And then I saw it, and then I started watching everyone's reactions to it. Everyone's like, "Oh, this doesn't look too good."
Yeah, a little bit questionable.
I was like, "Shit, damn!" and then the second trailer came out, and then they showed the ultimate Predator at the end. Oh no, not the second trailer. There was a TV spot for the NBA game, and it wasn't full quality.
Yeah.
And they showed
just like a raw thing, wasn't it?
Like And they showed the ultimate Predator at the end, and then I remember I was in a restaurant and I ran to my dad, like, Dad, look how cool this looks. and I remember I was like, I remember I was working at Hoyt's, and the opening night, I couldn't see it because I was working. And people were coming to see it. I'm like, please let me know what you think after. And then these 2 guys came out after. They were massive fans though. And they gave me the thumbs up from a distance. I was like, yes, because I had my tickets ready for the night after. I was like, and then I saw your review. And then I said you loved 90% of the movie. And then I paused it there and I was just celebrating. I messaged my friend. I'm like, he said it's good. Yeah. And then I watched the remainder of your review. I was like, oh.
No. But that's the thing though as well. Like it's all about nuance. So like you do a review like that, and then people automatically think like you rate it as like a good part of the franchise and stuff, and it really isn't. Sadly, there's so much that they messed up, and that's the problem as well. Like you can, like it's not. It's just I could just talk for ages on it because there's just not. Like it's It's not, it's not absolutely atrocious.
No, there's some good elements.
Well, this is the thing, right? So there's peppered in there. There's a good movie somewhere in there, and because like if you're a fan of of Predator and movies in general, you see that and you go, oh, you want it to be good.
Yeah.
So you kind of start forgiving some of the other bits and bobs, and then you're like, and it starts to cloud your judgment. But like really. It's not a good film.
Yeah.
It's not a good film, and but
See, Friday
there,
night.
there was just some good elements there, but it's just
Yeah.
vastly let down by everything else. Such a shame.
Friday night I came out and the cinema was pretty packed, and then I
Mm,
came out, I'm like, oh, I enjoyed that. I didn't like some bits, but I was like a solid 7 out of 10. I enjoyed that.
mm,
And the cinema was laughing, like they were cracking up at the jokes. Like I remember
yeah.
uh the one Keegan Michael Key said about his mother. Like everyone was just laughing.
Mm,
I was like, oh, everyone's enjoying this. And then I saw it for a second time on the Sunday with the
this is
boys, and
yeah, yeah.
the cinema was laughing still. Like everyone was enjoying it. And I remember my friend
Mm,
was sitting next to me in the scene where the fugitive predator broke out in the lab and he's just mowing down everyone. I was like,
mm,
and like some of the kills, my friend was going like, oh shit, damn, he's wrecking them
mm,
up. And then like
yeah.
I was like, yeah, this is enjoyable. And then the plot points became more stupid, and then I was just like, and then I went,
This is the thing, like you cloud it, don't you, with
yeah,
like
100%.
with nostalgia and
Oh,
the enjoyment, and
yeah,
then and this is the problem is like things can look pretty and things can be conveyed quite well, but then when you get down to the brass tacks of it, like autism has become like a superpower in this universe. Like fucking get
uh,
real, mate.
one of my
Like
friends.
it's just terrible. Like, oh no, we want to come for McKenna, and it's like, oh really? What, that little thing? Really, really, really? Come on now, get real.
Yeah, I remember one of my friends at uni. He was like a Predator fan, and he hadn't seen the new one. He goes, "Oh,
Mm.
what did they try and do?" I'm like, "Oh, there's like a plot point where they weaponize autism, and he couldn't stop cracking up. The
Yeah.
whole lesson, he kept
Well,
going
well,
like the
that's a
t-
meme. That is a meme
the
in and of
tutor
itself,
would
like
talk about
weaponized autism. Like,
the
for
tutor
God's
would talk
sake.
about something different involving like a law subject, and he'd just look at me again, and he couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah, but then also as well, and unfortunately, they everyone seems to have this habit of bringing global warming into it as well. It was
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like the plot, the whole plot of the film is total nonsense, and it would have been even worse. This is the thing; it would have been even worse if they had included everything from the script.
I read
Like the
this.
script that's there, so bad,
You linked the leaked
so
script,
bad.
and I read it on
Mm.
break once, but this was after viewing the film. I'm like, I wanted to
Yeah.
see what this would have been, and
Oh,
I read it, and I was like, it was a bit better. Like I think I would have preferred it, but I'm
okay.
not
So this
sure.
is the thing, is
I
it?
think
Right.
because
So this is the thing. The plot points would have been worse,
yeah,
but it would have been a more coherent
yes,
film.
100%.
But that doesn't make it a better film
Yeah, of course.
because you've got predators that are living on Earth,
Yeah,
are like housed by the government and allowed to go out to hunt, and it's like,
yeah.
what, mate? They bitch slap the shit out of you. Like, what are you talking about? They're not just going to be like, oh yeah, we'll just stay here as like captives. It's like,
Technically, they
what?
made like
Please.
they wanted the plot point was like predators are our bitches, basically.
Yeah,
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 like,
that was it.
I was like,
It's like, nah,
when would you
not
see a
cool.
predator
And
succumb
like
to like someone like that?
predator spider monkeys and
Yeah,
predator dogs and all this other crap. It was just, it's
yeah.
terrible,
I think there was a
absolutely terrible.
scene as well with Olivia Munn's character. Oh, I'm trying to read. Remember, I think it's like at a caravan park, and they go out in like bikinis and
Mm.
skirts to distract the guards or something.
It was
I
just
think I remember I
nonsense,
read that, and I was like,
absolute
how does
nonsense.
this belong in a Predator movie?
Mm.
Like girls coming out in
This is
bikinis and
it.
skirts, like
Yeah,
to distract
yeah, I know.
guards. Like
Oh, it's
it's
so bad. I mean, like, who wouldn't want to see Olivia Munn in a bikini? Like, she's all right on the eye,
yeah,
of
we'll take
course.
that. We'll take
But
that.
it doesn't belong on a and this is the thing as well. Like, so when we're talking about the wider Predator franchise, this is what people don't. You can enjoy that film, but still know it's a
Yeah,
garbage Predator movie on a whole, because it is. And you look at the wider franchise on a whole, and this is like everyone seems to want to reinvent it. It's like, but you don't
yeah,
understand what makes Predator so good, right? Like Predator is good not because you get bigger predators,
no,
like not and this is like Predators. I firmly remain of the opinion that that's actually a good movie. Go back and watch it.
I
Like
enjoy it.
it
I
is
watched it
actually a
about
good movie.
3 weeks ago, and I really
Yeah,
enjoyed
like
it.
if you go back to it, like anyone watching this, go back to it and watch it
Yeah,
with a fresh mind. Like it's actually it is actually quite a good movie, and like a lot of people are like, oh yeah, but it's because they just they've rehashed certain bits and pieces, and I don't think that's the case at all. I think that they got why Predator was so good. Like Predator was so good because you've got men, like masculine
yeah,
people, because that's what Predator is about, right? Like it's a take on masculinity. Um, Men up against this overwhelming, powerful force, and they are just belittled by it consistently, and they have to overcome it. And that, that's what Predators was about.
Yeah.
Like at the core of it, right? That's the, core of what it was.
I was fine with that.
And I think they nailed it, and the costumes as well. The costumes in
Yeah.
Predators are
Oh,
fantastic. They really,
I think
the Predator at the campsite, they nailed that suit, and that is a completely different
yeah.
studio. It wasn't Studio ADI.
The
It
campsite was really there was a lot of good practical stuff in that film. Even I think
yeah,
the scene where I think Walter Goggins' character was on the Predator dog as well. Like that was all
mm,
practical as well. That was
yes, yeah,
and I think
yeah. Oh, they nailed it.
Nimrod Antal did a fantastic job of that. And it was a low going back on. We'll talk about that
Mm,
soon. Talk about soon the direction of the Predator franchise, but low
mm,
budget, fairly low, 40 mil.
mm.
Yeah,
This is the thing you don't have to do. You don't have to do big budget movies. They don't.
yeah,
You don't have to be big budget. This is the problem. Like same with Grace Randolph. I mean, this goes into the direction of the Predator franchise on a whole. Is that she's sat there going, it's not going to be a 4 quadrant movie. It's like it doesn't have to be
yeah,
dipshit. Like it literally doesn't have to be. Not every movie has to break $1 billion. Not every movie has to make, 3, 4, 500 million dollars. They don't have to.
yeah.
Like Invisible Man was considered a success because it was
Seven
made on
million.
$7 million.
Even
Just
like
make it cheap. Like,
even like
Christ
Get Out
alive.
was made on 5 million, and that made over 200 million.
Exactly.
Like
This is the thing. Like, rein it back in a bit,
yeah,
for God's sake. Like
um,
these bloated budgets that are just getting insane.
I think
It's just madness.
the Predator 2018 had a budget about was it about 70 million, and then the reshoots made it about 20 million more. Was it
I
something like
don't
that?
know. I mean, I don't think they ever released the
Yeah.
actual budget. And the problem is, I mean, I can have a look at it now.
Say what you want about that
Um,
film.
so they're,
Ah,
so
okay.
they're rumored to be 88 million
That's all right.
around, but then it would have cost
Yeah,
well over 150 million in total because the marketing was
yeah.
quite extensive,
Did it take in
very,
about?
very extensive.
Did it take
Like,
in around 160,
yeah,
163 or
so
something?
it would have lost money. It would
Yeah.
have lost money categorically.
But say what you want about that film.
Mm,
It like it did take in more than Predators, but adjusted for inflation, whatever. But
yeah.
that's still a decent amount for a Predator film, 160 mil. If that was made on a lower budget, say
Yeah,
20, 30 million,
exactly,
everyone would be
exactly,
touting it a success.
exactly. Well, this is the thing, isn't it? It's like the everyone seems to think that every movie now has to break like a 500 plus million
Yeah,
dollars, and you're like, it just doesn't have to be the
yeah,
case. Like they only have to do that because they keep bloating the budgets beyond
yeah,
belief. Wind it back in, bring it back down, get down to the core of what makes those films good. Like an Alien movie, for instance, you do have to make that on a relatively large
yeah.
budget because the sets are quite
Space,
massive. You have to
different
do,
planets.
but like a Predator film doesn't have to be. You don't even have to have sets, right? You don't have to have massive, because a lot of it can just be shot in modern day.
Yeah,
Because technology hasn't caught up. But you don't have to set it in the future. You could even set it in the past, and even then, set it on. Think outside the box, right? Set it on a pirate ship back in the
yeah.
1800s or 1700s, whatever. Like set it back then. Like why not?
Like the
Set it on a exactly
Raphael
Raphael
Adolini comic.
Adolini.
Yeah,
Exactly. There's so much more you could do with it, which would be like so low budget. The most of the budget would be the actor, the lead actor of some
yeah.
description, and then the suit. And that would be it. And then a little bit of post production effects.
But the suit's all
You could
prosthetic anyway,
mm,
and like there's no
you
CGI
could make
involved.
it. You could exactly. You'd have to do a little bit post
Yeah,
production.
but it'd look really well anyway.
Exactly, and you could do it. You could do it so cheap, but they just don't think outside the box. They, again, because of plebs like Grace Randolph, they keep thinking that that's the direction
Yeah,
that they have to go in. Bigger, better,
I think
new audience. It's like
I
why?
think they
Who's
yeah
the new audience that they're trying to cater to? Who is it?
they become so involved in this like big budget Marvel blockbuster. I
Mm,
think all today it's just it has to cost 200 mil plus 150 mil at least given to it, and then
yeah,
like it doesn't.
yeah.
A movie a film I really want to watch, and I can't believe I still haven't got around to it, and is made on a low budget,
Mm.
was Upgrade,
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
and
Tiny, tiny, tiny budget.
that
Tiny,
looks
tiny
really
budget.
good from what I've seen.
Yeah, it's very, very good. And that's Lee Winnell as well, same guy who
Okay.
did The Invisible Man. And this is the thing, like you don't have to do massive budget films. Like you just don't, like especially not Predator, you don't have to. You just don't.
I can't see why no one would go to a studio with like a Predator script and maybe like 15, 20 mil, 30 mil max. A
Mm.
studio would take that in a heartbeat, I reckon, that cheap.
Well, it's Disney now. It's Disney now,
Yeah.
isn't it? So,
So
unfortunately, Disney have it, and I'm sure you could get investors to put in to
yeah,
get 15 mil together, and even just say, hey, look, can we just use the license? You know,
Yeah.
like we'll invest in it, we'll make it, and just can we use the license? I'm sure that they would even do that. To be
Like
fair,
with the comics, like the Predator versus Batman story was crazy good. I really enjoyed
mm,
it. I for watching it for
yeah,
the first time
because
today, that was amazing. I don't see why Marvel can't do anything like that. But based on the first teaser photo with like the droid, I'm like
yeah.
Predator.
Well, so Marvel can't do that because any of their human characters are too technologically advanced, and you remove
Yeah,
what makes the Predator an adversary at that point.
like Wolverine will
Like,
destroy him. He's like,
well, so will there be no? Yeah,
uh,
Wolverine wouldn't be. I mean, there's multiple ways you could write stuff like that,
yeah,
but it's also Predator's good because it is going up against a normal man,
yeah,
and it's the strife that a normal man would feel going up against an adversary so
yeah,
technologically advanced, and also so, uh, you know, well, otherworldly in its strength capacity, right? So, like, if you then chuck him up against Marvel heroes, where's the core?
yeah.
Where's what makes
Like
Predator so good
the
at that
core
point?
Avengers, of course, the Predator won't stand a chance. Like your
Mm,
Scarlet Witch, all those. But
yeah,
Disney has proved they can go gory with, or like R-rated with their shows. But I don't know how much influence they had on Netflix with the likes of Daredevil and
I
Punisher.
don't.
Because I think
I don't
Predator
think they
was
had any. I
ah
don't think
fair
they
enough.
had any. I think it was a guy who's left who was doing the Marvel TV stuff, and
Ah
he
okay.
he had to leave. I want to say Jeff Loeb, but it's not that. I know it's not him. I don't know. I can't remember who it was,
Yeah.
but I know that he had to leave. Um, and that's why a lot of the Marvel TV stuff that was in the works, especially at Hulu, is now like
Yeah, it's
cancelled,
done.
it's done
Everyone
because
loved
Kevin
them.
Feige doesn't want it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Like
exactly. Like the reception was
Daredevil,
great.
Punisher, absolutely loved, and I was
Yeah,
so excited for Punisher season 3, and then the inevitable came out after Daredevil got cancelled.
yeah,
Everyone's like, "Well, Punisher's got cancelled," even though the season was just released as well, the new one.
yeah. No, yeah. I
But
know. It's
I
garbage.
think Predator v Daredevil or Punisher would be crazy good, but judging by the
Mm,
droid photo, like these guys are intergalactic hunters. They take trophies and they rip your spines
yeah.
out. Like
It's taking
they
a robotic head. Like what? No,
okay,
piss
fair
off.
enough. I've seen that 1,000 times. Like
Yeah, there's nothing. The thing is, as well, like even if they do, so what a lot of people didn't realize about the new announcement is that like, going to Marvel, there's a strong chance that now anything that was established in the Dark Horse comics they cannot use.
oh, okay,
Right?
so they can't rehash. Okay.
Everything's wiped. No, they literally can't take up any of the storylines. Everything's wiped. Literally everything is wiped because dependent on dependent on how the rights deal has worked out with Dark Horse using the license, Dark Horse may own the specific IP that they had created within the comics. So,
Oh, okay.
like the actual storylines which they had created. And if Disney, I don't know, but there are instances where this has happened. So it's dependent whether Disney would have purchased them if that is the case.
Yeah.
And because Disney doesn't want to waste money on a product like Alien and Predator, it's unlikely that they have done that. And the thing is they haven't purchased the rights from Dark Horse to give it to Marvel. They would have just rescinded the license
Yeah.
because there'll be something in the clause that when Disney purchased Fox, all necessary license deals that were already contractually in place, there will be a clause whereas they can then be up for axing. So they wouldn't have spent money.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have given money to Dark Horse. It's unlikely. So it's unlikely that they would give them even more money to then use the IPs which they had created within the
Oh, okay.
license.
Well, I'm hoping they think of something innovative and creative for like their own Predator series instead of just
Mm.
pitting him up against these superheroes, which I think
Yeah, I mean, it never. I mean, that's the best hope, isn't it? That we, yeah,
yeah, all we
we
can
can
just
hope
hope.
that that's the case.
That's the
Well,
best
yeah,
thing we can do.
yeah.
Can't do much about hoping. Oh, Disney's very. No one knows what they can like. I think the Disney empire is just growing today. God knows what they're going to
Mm.
acquire next, and
Well, hopefully they can't acquire too much else because I think that they will become a monopoly at that point.
I think they will
I
be.
think that they will.
I think it's going in
Yeah.
that
Well, there's.
direction. It's scary, but
Well, they're not allowed to be. That's the thing.
oh
So
really?
they won't be allowed. Yeah, you can't become a monopoly. Like you're not allowed to. So it's against the law. So when they purchased Fox, in so many individual countries, they had to go to court, or like their lawyers were hashing it out to indicate how they weren't a monopoly and things like that. So I think if they were to acquire any more, I think they'd be borderline monopoly at that point.
They went through a lot to acquire Fox. All that
Yeah, they
effort.
did.
Yeah.
But this is the thing as well. This is why, like, you have to take into. So if we're talking about the future of the Predator franchise, they're not going to be doing anything which is massively risky, because they spent a lot of money on Fox, and them sending Predator out in Marvel, it doesn't cost them any money, so they're not going to look to take more risks with it because they've spent a lot of money on it already. So they're just looking to try and get some money back, basically.
I'm just hoping they can go back to what made Predator, like the roots of it, like horror, sci-fi, that suspense. And
Yeah.
I showed it to my cousin today for the first time. He's 12 years old, and I was rewatching it, and it was in 4K as well. The transfer is amazing, and
Nice.
we thoroughly enjoyed it. I was like rewatching. I was like, especially the scene where there's climate change activists won't love it, but there's a massive deforestation scene where Mac just unloads the old Sally on the woods, and then Arnold, all the boys just come and they just unload their weapons, and I was just like, it's just so good.
Well, this is the thing. Like, I don't know. Even if a better studio had it, I don't know whether today's sort of socio-political climate would allow for a Predator movie back to its core, because it is a toxically masculine film, isn't it? It praises everything about. I mean, Dutch, you son of a bitch. Like, just that scene right there. It exactly, but it embodies everything that unfortunately today people are fighting against, and what is not, and is not praised on the big screen anymore. And that's a shame, because I think, unfortunately, that will create a climate where you're just not going to get a movie like that again, and that's a true shame, really. Because again, if Disney was smart, right, no matter what you think of movies like that, whether you like them or dislike them, there's something to be said for counter programming. So if every single movie is coming from the same hymn sheet, and then one movie comes in that is breaking the mold completely, it will make bank. But that's just how it works. Counter programming is a thing. So, if they were smart, they'd do it anyway. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, it's you don't know what they're gonna do with it, but it's just everyone's so sensitive nowadays. It's just like, I didn't even know how some of the jokes in Shane Black's movie got off. Like the reactions to it, like they were very touching. I'm like very touch and go with the political climate. Like a lot of the dudes in the cinema laughed at it, but I can see some types of women, and you know what types of women I'm talking about, but very
absolutely
disappointed at that.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, that's you then have to look at that with the future of the franchise. Is like, well, they did that and it wasn't a success. So studios are super dumb. Like they view it as like a whole thing, and they take everything away from it, rather than like looking at the minutiae of like, what actually caused it to fail and things like that. So they'll go, well, that format didn't really work. So they'll say that those jokes weren't very good either, despite the fact that people, quite enjoyed them. Yeah. So it's unlikely that you'll see them again in another Predator movie, because they will probably view that as something which wasn't a success.
So you reckon the masculine route is very, like, not hopeful for them going back down that?
No, definitely. Come on, it's Disney. We're having a laugh. Just gonna go, like, and like
we'll have Brie Larson in the lead role, taking him down.
Oh, definitely. Captain Marvel just, Marvel's working on it. Just be Captain Marvel, just swoop in, chop his head off. Like, oh, great, good, thanks. Epic.
Big F you to all of us. I love it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Brie Larson will come on and go, this film's not made for you. Oh, thanks very much. Like, goddamn.
Oh, man.
Terrible stuff.
Yeah,
terrible
I remember back to the 2018 film. I rewatched the trailers after the film came out, and I rewatched them last year, even though the film was done and it happened. Whatever happened. And I think there was more footage in the trailers of like what we didn't get than what we actually got.
Yeah, there was. They manipulated the trailers quite a lot. In fact, there was a few that came out which actually showed them on the showed them on like the tanks and stuff like that, and again what was in the script. But that goes to show how late they were to the party on doing all the reshoots. They literally did it right up to the wire. They were remaking that film.
I remember buying the Empire magazine for the movie, and I got it right here actually. It's this one, I think. It's
Yep, yeah, that's the
and
one.
they had photos from the film, and it was in the second trailer of like the Predator at the end, the Ultimate Predator roaring, and he was like in a red and black
Yeah,
color, and it was in daytime.
yeah,
And I was like,
yeah. I
where was
know.
that in the movie? I was like, that's what I was
Yeah,
excited for. Because he looked different to
yeah,
that than the film. Instead, we got like some crappy scene in the tree where he looked like a PS2 game. And
yeah. Oh yeah.
that,
Yeah,
that
it's it again. They, I think they tried to change so much of it at the last
yeah,
minute because well, because it leaked, but then people's reception to it leaked. And the thing is, like, people are like, "Oh, what if it didn't leak? They'd keep it." It's like, no, if it leaked and it was good, they would have kept it. Like,
yeah.
of course they would.
You
They
said it
would have
was
changed it.
very mixed, the first test screening. Like, some people loved the comedic take, but a lot hated
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, like, I think it remained pretty mixed throughout. But
Yeah,
then a lot of the effects weren't done as well. So you can't, you because there's like placeholders. So it was the same with like Godzilla King of the Monsters. Like I had people that had watched that, and there's just placeholder things. So like not a lot of it is. Some of it's not obvious for what they're going to do with
yeah,
the fights and things like that, and how they kind of pan out. So the context behind some of it just wasn't there,
yeah.
especially with the fully CGI
Nah,
Predator.
I enjoy the
But,
MonsterVerse, what they've done with it.
the MonsterVerse
I
is
want to do an
great, yeah.
episode on the MonsterVerse actually because there's a lot I want to discuss about Godzilla vs Kong. I'm really
Mm.
excited for that as well.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah, likewise. I'm happy to join you for that.
Yeah, but back on with the final trailer for Predator 2018, that really
Mm,
got me hyped. I remember your reaction to it and you were loving it.
mm. Well, that's the thing. So they changed it. They turned it
Yeah,
around. Like I didn't like a lot of the trailers, and then the last few that came out, and I was like, oh, I'm getting quite excited for
yeah.
this. This is looking much more in line with what a Predator movie should be. And then and
But
then
they showed
it
us
was
what
all
we liked, and then what we liked was
yeah,
nothing new in the movie. And it was just
yeah,
like all the bad stuff. It's
exactly.
just like,
Yeah, exactly. And then there was overwhelming fucking plot point autism. My
yeah,
God,
it didn't feel
absolutely
like a
ridiculous.
Predator movie. He had like you had the jungle, then you're going back to the suburb, and it
Mm.
just felt like sometimes it felt like a soap opera, in my opinion. Like when it was at
Yeah,
McKenna's house and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah. It was very. I don't know. It was very amateurish. And the thing is, like Fox had a habit of doing this because they did it with Alien. Is that they bring back people that were just attached to the first,
Yeah,
the first movie, thinking that they're the be all and end all. Like Ridley Scott didn't write Alien. He didn't write a lot of the iconic things. They weren't
yeah,
his ideas. It was Dan O'Bannon's, and it was David Giler and Walter Hill.
and then
Like
yeah,
those were the people that included the most iconic elements to
yeah,
the Alien franchise, and along with Giger as well. And Shane Black just added a bit of jokes to Predator. He didn't
yeah,
write it. It's got nothing to do with him. He didn't. He just starred in it and added a bit of jokes. That was it. So bringing him back, thinking that he's gonna be able to change the franchise and bring it back to its
yeah.
roots, it's just nonsense. It is absolute nonsense. Like how in any way was that gonna be? What? Like, and his movies are fine. Like
Some
you
are
either
like
like
fine.
his movies or you don't. But to bring this is the problem. Like that's what Fox were doing. They were just trying to bring people back, thinking that they could like resurrect franchises.
Yeah.
It's really weird,
He really
really
missed the
weird
mark with
direction.
it. He really, really did miss
Mm,
the mark of what makes Predator. Like there was some elements of like his older films, or like I think like you don't bring like elements of The Nice Guys, for example, a film I love. Like it was
mm,
really comedic and stuff.
yeah.
You don't bring elements of that into a Predator movie. Like
No,
yeah,
exactly. Like you just yeah. It just again, like you say, missed the mark.
yeah.
Just really missed the mark.
Even like with the horror films like Invisible Man doing well and stuff. If they take
Mm,
out because it's Disney, if they take out the masculine stuff about Predator, fair enough. But if they
mm.
maybe go down like the horror route, I wouldn't mind that. Like something like the Invisible Man or something. At least make it suspenseful and like make him impressive.
Yeah,
Make him win for once because he always gets. Yeah, I
yeah.
can't like.
Well, this is
Yeah,
the thing as well. Like if a Predator wins, that'll be earth shattering
yeah.
because they never win. They always just like, but
They
again,
should win.
well, they should win at least once
Yeah,
just to break the mold. Because then, if you're setting up a multiple series of movies, if you had a Predator win for a change, then it's going to make you want to see the next one,
yeah,
right? Because you're going to want to see, well, what happens next? That we've never seen a Predator win, and then if he dies in the next one, that's fine. Who cares?
yeah,
Because that again goes to the core of what makes a Predator movie a Predator movie. Humanity overcoming an
yeah,
overwhelming force, right? Technologically and physical prowess. But yeah, like definitely should win at least once. Like for God's sake,
I think
they just get turned into a little bitch
the,
every single
the
time.
closest one, I still think the first one's the closest to the Predator. The first film is the closest we saw to the Predator winning, in my opinion.
Yeah, it
I
is.
think,
Yeah, like absolutely. Because the second one, like
yeah,
he's not.
he's a bit goofy in
Like,
the
it was
second. Not
pretty.
goofy, but like
It was very 90s. The
yeah,
second one was like a very 90s ish movie.
the first.
In terms of it being a bit bombastic and
Even
stuff like that.
rewatching the
So,
third one today, like he was, if you were watching that film for the first time and you saw Sonny Landham's character Billy,
mm,
you're like, oh, this guy's unstoppable. This guy's a freak, like tracker. And then you see him afraid, and
yeah,
you see him get taken out. You're like, oh crap, this is bad. And then,
yeah. Well, yeah, exactly.
if anything, Dutch got a bit lucky with his kill. So
It was all luck.
yeah,
That was the thing. Like it was all just dumb luck.
and the
So
Predator was
yeah.
toying with him a bit at the end. So
Mm,
I think he was defeated, but
yeah. Well, yeah. It was pretty much sheer luck, to be
yeah.
perfectly honest.
But if Disney do decide to go down the route and do a film, I don't think we'll see one for
Mm.
the next, I don't know, maybe 3, 4 years, even years on it.
Well, yeah, it'll be a long time. It'll be a long time. They're trying to. I would imagine they're trying to change the market of the
Yeah.
brand, and then like look to see where they're going to include it. I would imagine.
If they came with you, with two of you, and they're like, we want you to do a script or like pitch a
Mm.
Predator film, what would you go with?
So I did it on my channel actually,
Yeah,
like
I
how
watched
to
that video. Yeah.
how to. So I would do that. Like I
Uh,
would firmly do that. I think. Yeah, I think that's great. Like I think go into the future, go to the Predator homeworld, have them like subvert the expectations, to have them not with like technology specifically, have them like split factions, like an internal civil
yeah.
war, things like that. The thing is like, and you can do it cheap, right? Just go to Australia, go to the outback, right? You
Yeah.
get the Australian tax rebates that you do for films and things like that. And just have it like that. Have like a colonial marine sort of setting. Have colonists trying to, colonize their planet. Have them completely on the back foot. That
That's
would be good. That's a subversion of
that's the best
expectations, at least
idea
to
of
some
like
degree.
that's the best idea I've heard, and like it's similar to like I wouldn't say it's similar to like Alien Covenant sort of in a way, like where they're colonizing a planet,
Mm,
but like obviously you're changing it, and then you have the different factions, and I think you could also like divulge into like different Predator costumes as well, because you got different
mm.
factions, and you could sort of
Yeah,
expand the
exactly.
law
You could
as
do a
well with
lot.
it. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Well, exactly. I mean, you see it in the homeworld,
yeah,
like, but it'd be decimated. And that's the thing. Like, you remove everything that makes the movie so expensive. So you can go to the homeworld, but don't have it as a, an
yeah,
actual homeworld. Have it as a destroyed planet now.
yeah.
Like, it's quite, it's quite simple. Like the thing, people write themselves into the corners with these things. With budgets and stuff. Like, you don't have to do
I'm
that.
pretty sure
Just change it.
we have a lot of good locations here down under, so it wouldn't be too
Yeah,
bad.
exactly. Well, yeah. I mean, I've been to the outback. Like,
Yeah,
it's desolate, absolutely desolate. So
but
you could do so
even
much with it.
even with the new June movie coming out, you've seen great, fantastic
Mm.
like location shots in the desert. I think one of them
Yeah.
was with Timothy Chalamet's character.
Yep.
So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's it's there to be made. You don't have to overly compensate with like green screen, blue screen, CGI,
Mm.
everything. The locations are
Yeah.
there, and it'd be easier for the filmmakers.
Yes, well, yeah, exactly. Like, and the thing is, like, I said that on that pitch video, and people were like, "Oh, yeah, but it's really hot in Australia." It's like it's not. Go there in winter. Like, it's really cold.
Oh, it's
Like,
really
it's
cold at the
cold in
moment
the
here.
outback.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not
exactly.
too
So
bad.
just do that.
Yeah,
Like people will be in the suits and they'll be fine. There'll be no issue there. So
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure they filmed in colder places in the world for other films.
Well, yeah, exactly. But like the thing about Australia is that you can still be in the outback and it can look desolate and hot,
Yeah,
like an arid, but it's cold.
yeah.
Like because of the climate of
It's
of
just
that sort of
whether the
season.
studio's willing to take that risk, I
But no,
guess.
it's
If
Disney. It's Disney, so
Disney,
they
sorry,
won't.
Disney now.
So yeah,
I
you
keep
got to
forgetting
remember. Come on, it's
sometimes.
Disney.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm scared, man. I'm not scared, but I'm just worried. There's a lot of worrying times ahead with Disney because, like, you've seen they've put out, like, they've gone for they've a lot of nostalgia stuff later, like the remakes such as Aladdin and Lion King,
Mm.
and they signed
It
up
was safe. It's safe and
yeah,
easy. That's the thing.
cheap
They
money,
don't. They don't
cheap
take.
money,
Yeah. They
easy
don't.
money.
Yeah. They don't take risks. That's the problem.
Yeah,
So
so
I like to kind of wrap it up. I guess
yeah,
like I don't think that there will be much in the way of movement for a long time, and I don't think they'll take any risks
yeah.
unless they've laid the like significant groundwork for it.
I guess Predator Hunting Grounds is gonna be my my savior for a while.
Sadly, yeah, that'll be it for a
Yeah.
long time. I
Because
think
I
it's a
have all
shame.
the films, but you can't watch them all the time. Like I I have all of them on Blu-ray, then I have duplicates on 4K, and then. But the only problem
Yeah.
is like once I watch the first three, I've tried rewatching the fourth one about 3 times now, and every time I have not finished it. I have not got past half an hour mark.
Really?
I can't
God
finish it.
damn.
I can't finish. I get to I'm like, yeah, I'll get back to it later, and I just can't. I can't. I don't know why,
Yeah.
but I'm just like I have no
It's not
urge to
very
finish
good.
this. Yeah, it's just shite. I can't do much. It's just like it hurts. It hurts. And I rewatched Aliens yesterday as well, and that film I love that film, and
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
just
Aliens is fantastic.
it's sad to see that what direction that took in as well. It's just like some of the stuff they put in the films, like it's not that hard to eliminate, like not not stupid ideas. Yeah, stupid ideas, I guess. It's just like not that hard to think of something creative. Like, for example, with Predator, you thought of an idea that can be done on a cheap budget. Like, it's they're so narrow-minded sometimes. Like, we got to go bigger is better. Like as you said, always.
Yeah, this is the problem, and also just trying to constantly appeal to a new audience.
Yeah.
You know, like I get it, but you'll get a new audience
Yeah.
with the same kind of, vibe. Like
Yeah.
you don't have to exclude people just to
Yeah.
get a new audience. You know.
But like Grace said today, I think she was saying that they don't have much. Was she saying they don't have much of a big audience? I think she said
Well,
that.
they don't, well they don't.
But
Like,
they do have a
Pred-
core
Pred-
fandom that will go out and see
Exactly.
the films. Like
Exactly.
no matter
You
what,
know,
no matter what you put out, they'll be there.
Yeah, it will exactly. And then because like everyone can get like if you show Predator to most people, they'll go, oh, that's a good movie.
Yeah.
So if you were to gonna get to the core values of it again, then most people, you're gonna get another set of fans by
I think
watching it. So.
you got to cast it right as well. I think as well
Yeah,
casting, even if people will come back and see Arnold in it, I think that will bring a lot of people to the cinemas as well.
Well, it bring people that are like fair weather fans. It bring them back for sure. Yeah.
But it just depends on what direction they'll take. And at the moment, sadly, we don't have anything. They acquired it, and the latest we've had nothing on film. It's just comics. So
Yeah. Well, that's all we're gonna get for a long time. They'll look to lay the groundwork and then kind of move from there.
well, anyway, I think we've covered a lot today. It went so quick. I
Yeah,
think
it's
that
been
was
good.
about an hour almost.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's been pretty good.
Oh, it's been really good. First episode, a bit nervous as usual, but hoping I did all right. Or great as usual, Mr. H. But,
Well, yeah, all of your whoever's watched this can leave their thoughts down below, can't
yeah,
they? So
let me know how it
kind of
went.
include
So
their thoughts.
I'll try and improve in future episodes, and we'll see. We'll see how we go. I know we've discussed over email that we'd like to discuss certain topics in the future, and we'll try and organize time for that. But
Yep, definitely.
exciting times ahead for you in the next 10 days. I think you'll be starting filming July 19, is it?
Yeah, 19th,
Yeah.
so 12 days
12
now.
days.
12 days actually start shooting, so yeah.
Everything's going ahead well.
pretty
The
busy.
drones come yet?
Yeah, no, I've got everything.
Yeah.
Absolutely everything.
Everything?
So
Oh, that
yeah,
sounds good.
it would just be just go and get started
Yeah.
now, really. So yeah.
How filming you're planning to shoot over how long? 10 days, was it?
10 days,
Yeah.
10 day shoot. 10-day shoot, technically like 7 days and then a few days pick up,
Yeah.
but we'll see how it goes. It may
Yeah.
extend because, you go in with the best of intentions and then you don't know really.
So I'm
See how it
guessing,
goes.
how's it going to work with your channel? Are you going to provide live updates on set on YouTube, or
No, I got no
content,
interest
no
in.
content at all?
No. Well, no, I'll be doing
Oh,
my
you-
normal videos.
oh,
I'm not
fair
going to
Keep
provide
on- yeah.
updates. There's no point.
Yeah, fair enough.
No point. Like, oh, 1 day shooting. There you go.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it's not. There's no. You go into spoilers. So I'll be doing nothing like that.
Yeah.
And as well, like I'm saving a lot of that for a kind of documentary thing. So there's that.
Oh, that's
be
awesome.
redundant
That's
in
awesome
watching
then.
that, won't it?
Yeah.
So be no point watching that if
Yeah.
I did all the live updates. So yeah.
Well, I probably won't have hopefully another episode with you to after filming's done, because I know in post production I know you're going to be involved a lot with that. But
Yeah, but I'll still be around,
Yeah.
so we can definitely
fair enough. Thank you so much.
get together anyway.
Oh, in the meantime, keep up the content as usual. Obviously, amazing.
Hmm.
Sometimes, guys, if you haven't seen Mr. H, just subscribe to him. Sometimes 3-4 videos a day, movie news, everything. No nonsense, no bullshit. Just straight to the point.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Nah, it's amazing. And just a reminder, his links in the description for his Teespring merch, and donate to his film, because everything helps, and it's just been amazing. Like, he's a normal YouTuber. If you email him for advice, anything, he would respond. He's not like he's always open to conversation, and that's what I love about H. And thank you so much, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Love having you on. Well, that was it, guys. First episode of the podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it. It was definitely nerve-wracking experience. Mr. H definitely carried my ass in that one, obviously due to his experience. Just like to once again thank him for coming on, and his filming for his project is actually done at the moment. And I'd just like to congratulate him on an amazing achievement. No, I'm simping out right now over him, but it's an amazing achievement, and all the links in the description will be linked below for his merch and continuing to donate to his film. And there's a lot of post-production work going to be done. And I've got some amazing stuff planned for the future, such as a series with Lego and film reviews. So hopefully you guys stay tuned for that. And thank you for watching the first podcast ever. I know I was a bit nervous. I know I was a bit crappy, but we'll improve from here. Take care. God bless. Peace.